Honestly, I don't even know how to say hello anymore, but hi, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Blurb. This is a really exciting one. I'm going to be talking about book tropes, okay? I'm going to be talking about what my favourite book tropes are, what I don't like, and also giving you guys my recommendations because there are so many out there and I feel like a lot of book tropes repeat constantly. Like, so many books have the same book trope. But don't get me wrong, I do have my favourites, and when I see that book trope, I am not complaining, but I do also love to hear book recommendations based on book tropes that I don't really read a lot or I just haven't necessarily come across. So yeah, let's get started. Welcome. I'm sitting on the floor right now in my bedroom with my book of towers, I always want to say book of towers, it's not, it's tower of books, okay, in my bedroom because the office isn't ready. I don't have a bookshelf and I had to very last minute set up like a little filming location for TikTok. I thought, let's use this for my podcast too at the moment until I find a good spot. But in the meantime, if you are watching me on YouTube, hi, hello, welcome to my tower of books. I try to put like the prettier ones up at the top or like books that I absolutely love, but I don't know, I just feel like it's actually a bit all over the place and it wasn't smart of me to put really heavy books at the top and then the smaller books at the bottom because the towers are not stable, okay? Before we begin, what I want to do with every episode is talk about what I'm currently reading at the moment, what I'm thinking, and just like my thoughts and feelings on books at the moment, because let me tell you, I am struggling, okay? I have been struggling for the past few weeks. I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I have mentioned it in a previous episode. I don't know, because I've been talking to a few girlies about this and I know I mentioned it on TikTok before, or maybe I haven't posted it yet though, but I have definitely filmed a video about it. But anyway, I'm really struggling to read books at the moment. And I think it's because I'm so busy. I haven't had a weekend off where I just do nothing. I'm like a mix of type A and type B. There are certain things that I'm an absolute type A about, and there are certain things I'm absolutely type B about. I'm a type A when it comes to my organization in my personal and work life. Like, because I do so many different jobs, technically, okay, I have to be organised. If I'm not organised, I have a breakdown. And I feel like I'm behind right now on everything that I'm doing. So yeah, I have been really struggling to like concentrate on books because I read like a chapter and then my mind wanders on what I need to do. And I also feel like fantasy has just not been good for that headspace because fantasy is quite full on sometimes and there's a lot to think about. So I was reading the new book by Carissa Broadbent, The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk, I think is the new one. I was reading the one before and I did enjoy it, but I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I could have if I was in the right headspace. So I don't know, maybe I might do a reread in the future of it. I'm not sure. I'm about halfway through The Fallen and I stopped. Okay, I stopped. And it's not the book's fault. It isn't, because it is a good book. The story is interesting. There's a lot going on, but I'm just not invested enough and I want to give that book a fair chance. When I'm like slumping, I have to just change tactic. So I actually paused that book and I read Ricochet. I read that because it's the second book of like the Addicted series and like the Calloway sisters universe, whatever. Let me just say that was much better than Addicted. Okay, I really didn't like Addicted. Ricochet, okay, it's getting there. Like, I was a lot more invested in the story and actually I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, and it kind of half got me back into reading. I wasn't quite there yet, but I was like, okay, I'm getting there. And then I picked Mile High because that is on my August TBR. At first, I was kind of invested and now I'm losing a bit of interest. And I think it's just because things happened a bit too early in that book, okay? And I know that's the worst one out of the series, so I will read Winter series. I've actually decided I'm going to listen to Mile High. I was listening to it earlier whilst I was getting ready and I thought I was actually enjoying it a little bit more listening to it for some reason. So I'm just going to listen to that one. And then I was like, right, let me go back to my comfort author that I know I love and love the writing. And I feel like when I'm in a slump, I need like some messy romance. And who's better than Jessa Hastings? So I'm reading Time of Your Life. I've actually got the book with me right here. I got the hardback off Amazon when it first came out, and I was going to read it when it first came out, and then I didn't. It's not like a special edition or anything, but I just really love Jessa Hastings book covers because they are quite unique. The artist, I love Emmy. I follow her online. I follow her journey because I think she is so talented. So yeah, because of that, I did buy the physical book, and therefore I'm reading the physical book, which actually I'm really enjoying. Sometimes I'll tell you, if I'm entering a book slump, changing how I'm reading also can help. I'm a Kindle girly predominantly, but sometimes I do like to read like a little physical book. So this is really helping. Here we are. I have been rambling on for too long. Let's talk book tropes. Okay, I'm not like a pro reader, by the way. Like, I'm a newbie in my eyes, okay? Even though I've been reading for like, I don't know, 2 years or something, I still see myself as quite a newbie reader, just because I compare myself to some girlies online and they have read thousands of books, and I'm here like, yeah, so this is my like nearly 200, by the way. I'm nearly on the 200 line. I'm so excited. I haven't read all tropes, okay? I've only recently read a single dad romance book. When I say recently, maybe like a couple of months ago, but that is really late. I've just kind of written them in random orders and then written books next to them. The first one is One Night Stand. What do I think of that trope? I don't hate it. I don't love it. I think if it's done right, then it can be really good. But I'm a sucker for a slow burn. So when things happen like super quickly, I'm automatically like, I don't know if this story is for me. If it's done right, then yeah, I don't mind it. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez technically is a one night stand story. Do I love that book? I mean, I would recommend reading it because some people absolutely love and adore it. And I think it just depends on like your current mindset of when you are reading the book, whilst just your reading taste in general. I thought it was okay. The first half was a little bit boring, a little bit samey, and then it got a little bit more interesting in the second half. But I still would recommend reading it. Reckless by Elsie Silver. That was done right. Okay, that was good. I absolutely love that story. And The Score by Elle Kennedy as well. I completely forgot that is a one night stand story technically. But do you know what? I'm not complaining because that is Dean De Laurentiis and he is scrumptious. I'm so excited for the series, by the way. Do you know what? I'm going to be honest. At first, when I first saw the casting, people were a bit over the top and a bit rude. Okay, I'm not going to lie. Like, you don't have to be rude about the actors because this is probably like one of their dream roles. You know, their lives could change from this and you're sitting there calling someone ugly. Like, I'm not tolerating that. But I do agree with some of them not giving what they are meant to give based on the characters. And I'm talking like what they are supposed to look like. We don't know the vibes because we haven't seen them act yet. But when you picture someone and then they cast someone completely different, you're a bit like, oh, okay. But we'll see. I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to give it a fair chance because the Off-Campus series is... love it. And then probably the most hated trope ever is the accidental pregnancy trope. I hate it. I mean, do you know what? I say I hate it, but every book that I've read with the pregnancy trope, I didn't actually hate. Reckless by Elsie Silver. Yep. When I first saw that bit in the book, I automatically thought, oh no, I'm going to absolutely hate this. And I kind of was like, how is everyone loving this book? Like, but it was done really, really well and I actually really enjoyed it. And not the score. I wrote the score down, but it's not the score. Whatever the fourth book is of the Off-Campus, oh no, I don't. I've disconnected from the internet. What is that one? I can't remember, but I wrote down the score, but it's not. It's the fourth book in the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. That is an accidental pregnancy trope as well. I didn't mind it. I didn't love it. It was definitely actually the second worst book because the last book, yeah, it was a bit like, but I didn't hate it. Fake dating. Now, fake dating trope is an interesting one because I do kind of like it as you get that tension and you're kind of like in on a little secret where you know the characters are going to fall in love. You know the characters are probably liking each other earlier than they think they are, but you know they're fake dating. So, they're not real feelings. It just feels like it because, you know, they're supposed to be pretending to be in a relationship and all that. And you're kind of sitting there thinking, I know that you're going to fall in love in a minute. Like, don't you dare. Don't lie to yourself. It can also get a bit boring. I'm not going to lie, because it can be quite repetitive. quite samey. Like, I think the fake dating trope is very, very similar across all books. It's obviously really predictable, like any romance, let's be honest. Like, we all kind of know who's going to be with who, but it can be really fun though. Like, if the characters are likable, then I do like fake dating. Like, if it's funny, there's also a lot of tension at the same time, and like the characters kind of rip into each other a little bit, then yeah, we'll enjoy it. But if it's just like, I don't know, these two really boring, dull characters, then no thanks, okay? I wrote down The Deal by Elle Kennedy, which is the first book. I completely forgot that was fake dating. So I'm really excited to, like I said, watch that series, see how they do that. But that was really, really good. I absolutely loved that book. So fun, very relatable as well, even though it was fake dating. I've never done like a fake dating scenario. It is quite a relatable story, and that whole series is quite relatable, to be honest. Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. I completely forgot that was fake dating as well. Do you know what? I know this one is people's favourites, but I actually remember the least from this book. And I remember really enjoying it, don't get me wrong. At the time, I loved it, but I don't really remember it. I had to really research this one. And yeah, apparently it's fake dating. I can't really remember much else. I know that it's like this millionaire, billionaire, whatever, and he's meant to be this like powerful kind of suited and booted guy. You start to delve into more on like the powerful money side, where I think like King of Greed, King of Sloth, and all of those books are then more about, I think, but I could be completely wrong because I haven't read any of them, and I don't think I ever will, you know. There's something about those books now. I think the Twisted series are really good to start off with when you are first entering your reading era. I just think like Anna Huang, don't get me wrong, some of the books are probably really good, but I feel like they're hit or miss, and I'm not that keen. I might do in the future, but I'm not like, oh my god, I really need to read them. And Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Oh, I loved that little story. That was so cute. I read that quite early on in my reading journey, I think. And I thought it was really sweet and really fun, lighthearted. She basically wanted to make this guy jealous that she fancied like all her life. So she ended up fake dating. I think it was her friend or like her next door neighbor. Or was it the next door neighbor that she fancied? Something along those lines. And she wanted to make this guy jealous and basically end up having him as her prom date. Things didn't work out that way. Bully romance. Bully romance is probably also a love or hate. I know some people really don't like bully and bully romance, and I completely get that. Like, that is, yeah, like obviously you can read whatever books you want to read. I personally kind of like it, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's because it's similar to like rivals to lovers and enemies to lovers, but without it being so enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I like it. I think it can be really fun. But obviously I do get it can also be triggering, so it's not for everyone. But what I would recommend reading is Devil's Night by Penelope Douglas. That is a pretty much bully romance. Also the Royal Elite series by Irina Kent. Now listen, okay, this is not a series that I would recommend, to be honest, unless you just want something easy to listen to that's like really cringe but also just funny. I got really invested because I'm reading Irina Kent's books in the recommended reading order, so I get to like the Monster series or something, or I can't even remember, Legacy series, whatever they're called, like the later ones, because they're meant to be really good and it's all connected. They're like the parents and the kids and stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of taking my time with them though. Like when I fancy something like really easy and like just predictable and cheesy, then yeah, they're my go-to. But they are also a bully romance. Okay, military romance. I have not read any yet, but I really, really want to. Military romance sounds really fun. Like, it's not something that I've experienced in life, so maybe that is something I need to explore. And I can just imagine like whoever's in the military being really powerful. Imagine both of them being in the military. Oh, that would be fun. That would be so fun. I need to actually read a military romance soon. Enemies to lovers. Interesting. Okay, enemies to lovers is everywhere. Enemies to lovers annoys me because every single freaking fantasy romance book is enemies to lovers apparently. No, maybe it's rivals, maybe it's just like I don't really like you, but we'll have to tolerate each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think everything's now labelled as enemies to lovers because everyone loves enemies to lovers. Don't get me wrong, I will eat up enemies to lovers. You give me enemies to lovers, like true enemies to lovers, I will love it. Even if the writing is terrible, I'm still gonna love enemies to lovers. Can we please stop advertising enemies to lovers when it's not enemies to lovers? It is really, really boring. When they get together, especially in a series, and they get together in the first book, I just don't think that is enemies to lovers. I really don't. I think it's like half enemies to lovers, or just like disliked enemies to lovers, or rivals. It's more rivals. In a lot of these fantasy books, it is definitely more rivals than enemies. Zodiac Academy, actually, first up, Zodiac Academy has like majority of all tropes that exist, for one. But anyway, Zodiac Academy is probably the best representation of an enemies to lovers in a series, because the enemies lasts for books and books, okay? They don't just fall in love in the first one, or even the second one, or even the third one, okay? I don't want to obviously say too much because I can't spoil Zodiac Academy. You have to go as much you can go in blind as possible. I can't speak, okay, but you know what I mean. It is a true enemies to lovers, okay? And it's fantastic. It is awfully written, but it's great. Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. I really loved that, actually. I read Lucy Score's books really, really early on in my reading journey. Like, I think they were my first small town romances. Things We Never Got Over and Things We Hide from the Light are the first two. I read them back to back, I think, and then the third one wasn't out yet, and then as soon as the third one came out, I read that, which is Things We Left Behind. Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, again, enemies to lovers, probably rivals to lovers, maybe a little bit of enemies too. It's really hard saying enemies to lovers when it's not like a fantasy, because how enemies can you be? Do you know what I mean? But I would sort of say yes, in a way, that is enemies to lovers, because that they have been enemies for the two books before as well, and you get like little hints of what happened, and you see like their interactions in the first two books, which I really liked, because then when it got to the third one, I was like, okay, now I'm ready, like you can now get together. Do you know what I mean? Shatter Me. Shatter Me is a good enemies to lovers. I loved it, but it's also, no, I can't say because that is a big spoiler. I cannot say. It is enemies to lovers. We'll just stay there. Enemies to lovers, 100%. So good, okay? The best thing about Shatter Me is the fact that the books are really short, so they're actually really quick and easy to read. Even though it looks like there's a lot of books, I guarantee you there's not a lot of pages in total, so it flies by. I read Shatter Me when I was moving out from Manchester. My parents drove us up to pick up some bits, and I think I read like 3 books in one drive, or maybe in one day, but that's still a lot. Do you know what I mean? Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. I would kind of say that is actually enemies. The thing is with that book, I liked it, but it is quite toxic, and some of the stuff that is said between the characters is not very nice. So just bear that in mind if you do get a bit triggered by things. The Mindfuck series. Now I don't know if this is true. Would I say it's true enemies to lovers? More rivals. No, not rivals. Maybe, yeah. Right. Mindfuck series. I have never read anything like this since, and I need something, okay? Because I absolutely love that series. It's basically one big book, by the way. So she is a serial unaliver, and he is investigating and trying to look for her and trying to, figure out who's doing the unaliving. Quite interesting and fun and intense, but also quite dark. It is a very, very good entry to dark romance. And then Insatiable Edge of Darkness trilogy by Lee Rivers. That, I would say, is probably enemies to lovers to a certain extent, but enemies to lovers that have a lot of history that caused them to be enemies to lovers. So it's not enemies to lovers because of like their bloodlines or their like positions in life. It was because of their history. So good, but really, really dark. Check your trigger warnings. Icebreaker. I did a bit of research, by the way, before this podcast, because I was like, I don't remember all books with all tropes. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace is technically a enemies to lovers. I was thinking, would I put it actually in the rivals trope, but actually they're not really rivals because they're not competing, they're more just like battling against each other. But I wouldn't say necessarily purely enemies, I'd probably say like disliked. And then The Serpent and the Wings of Night, I would really definitely cross that with enemies to lovers and rivals to lovers. So freaking good. I already spoke about this book earlier. Absolutely love the first book. That relationship with them two, magnificent. Step sibling / step family, or like just any sort of taboo family relationships. I haven't read a lot, I'm not gonna lie. Do you know what? It's not like I don't like them. It's just there are so many books that I have to read that I love the sound of, that when it comes to like the step sibling and the family kind of taboo stuff, I'm not like, oh my God, I must read. But if a book jumps out at me, I will read it. I'm not against it, but I'm just not like a lover of it. Credence was my first one. Now, Credence I read really early on in my reading journey, and that was crazy. I don't know why I went in with that. I kind of went in blind. It was just going around everywhere, and I was like, okay, let me give it a go. Yeah, pretty intense. It's quite a lot. If you've never read a taboo romance, then maybe like don't read that one first. Or if you want to just jump in the deep end, please do. It is an uncle and his 2 nephews. That's what I'm saying. And then Little Stranger, adopted brother, I think, from what I remember. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I kind of have like mixed feelings on that story. Like, do you know what? Actually, no, the story was really good. I just think it was done badly. Sorry. I don't really see the hype around that book personally. I kind of see the hype in Credence because I think it was done quite well, even though the trope might not be for you. I think it was written well and whatever. Whereas Little Stranger and Little Liar, I didn't like it. I thought it was actually kind of boring and repetitive, but I am recommending it to you because some people do really love it, and it is quite an easy read, but it is super, super dark. So again, trigger warnings. Age gap romance. Okay, I don't look for age gap, but the most recent one that I read was actually Hopeless by Elsie Silver, and I really, really loved it. It was Beau, and he was the older one, the more experienced one, and she was the younger one, the inexperienced one, and I really loved that because the spice scenes in that were actually really freaking good. It was so much fun, very different to like a lot of other books. Twisted Games by Anna Huang as well, age gap. Twisted Games is my favorite out of the Twisted series. I don't think necessarily it's always like taboo. It depends how much the age gap is, I guess, but it is kind of like near taboo. Oh my God, I've got something in my eye. So if you're not really into like proper taboo, like that's such a fun little like, oh, okay, there's a bit of a big age gap. Let's see what happens. And then Credence obviously has a big age gap. Rivals. See, like we're actually separating enemies to lovers and rivals to lovers. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I've got Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows right here behind me from Fairy Lou. I actually ordered this on Vinted though because I missed out on those from Fairy Lou, and I absolutely love those copies. I think they're so cute. If you're looking for quite like a cutesy fantasy duology that isn't too long, they're also pen pals. I think, yeah, you could call them pen pals. Yeah, I really, really loved the concept. It was very different. I actually preferred the second book to the first. I think the second book had a lot more action and it was less on like the romance, and I actually preferred the action in this one, but still beautiful duology. Zodiac Academy again, that is a lot of rival stuff in there. So good. And Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I completely forgot that I read any of Emily Henry's books, not in a horrible way, but I just haven't read Emily Henry in a long time. I've only read 2 books of hers. I need to get back into Emily Henry because I did actually really enjoy them. I think they work in the same place, and they're both writers. I can't remember if they're like authors or if they work for like a magazine or something, but I think they both end up like going on holiday or something like that, and then see each other, and yeah, they're like in this competition at work or whatever. So that is definitely a rivals book. Friends to Lovers is a good one. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I know some people really love it and some people do hate it. I think, again, if it's done right, if there's a lot of emotions to it, a lot of backstory, and just, I don't know, you can see their relationship straight away. I do really love that. Addicted to You, I mentioned Ricochet earlier, so Addicted to You is the first book and the kind of first book of like the Calloway world. I've only read the first 2 books, by the way, but I'm definitely becoming more and more invested. Now, Addicted to You, the first one, is definitely not great. Okay, in my humble opinion, I really didn't enjoy it. I thought it was very repetitive and the characters kind of were boring me, but I kind of saw a bit of potential and a lot of people said to carry on. So I did read the second book, Ricochet. I liked it a lot more than Addicted to You, but that is definitely a Friends to Lovers and they have a lot of history and I do like that. So I can't wait for like I haven't actually read all of them, so it better be Friends to Lovers. Powerless by Elsie Silver. I did enjoy it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. Yeah, there's not much to say on that one. The story was done quite cutely, but like I wasn't absolutely obsessed with them. I do remember getting a little bit bored though, but Chestnut Springs in general it's a fun little series, so would recommend. And Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, that is also kind of like Friends to Lovers, but also it is more second chance romance. I live for second chance romance. I love it, especially when it's done in like this really toxic, messy way. I will eat it up. I don't know why people don't like it. I absolutely love it. I think it's great. So Every Summer After is one, Magnolia Parks and that whole world. When I say second chance in that series, it's more like 20 million chance, and I just love it and eat it up. Oh, also A Love Letter to Whiskey. I didn't write that down. That also like a millionth chance, but so good. And the Edge of Darkness trilogy is a second chance. And that is a dark romance, so trigger warnings. Okay, so royalty slash like powerful person with a commoner slash non-powerful. This is very, very common in fantasy. And again, it's one of those that I am getting sick and tired of, because there are some really freaking good ones, okay, that do this trope well. And then I just feel like a lot of authors, with all due respect, have jumped on this bandwagon because it got popular. Let's think of something different, please. Okay, I love a powerful FMC and a powerful MMC. I think it really is a fun dynamic that we need to explore more. We don't need the FMC to always be this weakling with these like broken bones and no power. Like, come on, let's do something more fun, okay? I do love the ones that I have read so far, and when it is done right. Twisted Games is one. If you're looking for like a non-fantasy, yeah, she is a princess and he's a security guard, so like she's the kind of powerful one in that, which is lovely. Then we got the Powerless trilogy. That is the first one that came to my mind, to be fair, actually, by Lauren Roberts. So he is the powerful one and she has no power. And I actually thought that was done kind of well, especially in the first book. I absolutely love and adore the first book. I think it was so beautiful. Lauren Roberts' writing in general has improved so much over the course of her books. But what I will say is Powerless is my favourite, and then it just goes downhill for me. I'm sorry. I mean, to be fair, like Fearless I did enjoy, but like I have a lot of thoughts on that book. It could have been done better, let's just put it that way. ACOTAR is that 100%, but it's a canon event. I can't really say much about ACOTAR because it will ruin it for you if you've never read it. But it is, it starts off as like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I think it's pretty much inspired by it, and then it goes on from there. That's all I can say. Oh, Caraval, Once Upon a Broken Heart. Yeah, kind of. Especially Once Upon a Broken Heart. I mean, even Caraval. I added both of those in because the FMCs are the kind of more like normal ones. Now, when I say like normal, that doesn't mean that they're not necessarily like powerful or like confident and whatever. They are, to be fair, but they just don't have like the powers and they don't come from these powerful lines. I think Caraval's really underrated. I think people expect Caraval to be different to what it is, and that's why people don't enjoy it. But if you know what Caraval is like, then it's so freaking good. It is very magical. You kind of don't know what is going on, but that is the point, okay? That is the whole point. You're not meant to know what's real and what isn't. And yeah, really, we loved it. Grumpy Sunshine is also a trope that is, in my humble opinion, overdone. But do I love it? Do I eat it up? Absolutely. Like, I love a Grumpy Sunshine too. Heartless by Elsie Silver. That is a freaking good Grumpy Sunshine, let me tell you, Cade. I will eat him up any day of the week. He is so good. Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Okay, now listen. This whole like universe is so hyped up. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I think the covers are really cute. I just think, listen, look, okay. The writing for me is too childish, but the story and what is included isn't, and that just doesn't work for me. That does not work for me. Like, I can't have like really, really childlike writing with smut or spice, whatever you want to call it. I find that really, no, it's not for me, sorry. But they are really popular, so I am recommending for you to try it, give it a go. You might absolutely love it. Definitely like autumn read this one, by the way, which we are entering soon, so save it for them. It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I read this so early in my reading journey and I really liked it, actually. I can't remember if I liked the first or the second one better, because there's a second one, but it was really fun, and he is definitely grumpy. Like, if you want like a proper grump, like, he is moody AF. Really, really fun read. He's like, is he a sailor, I think? And he like does things his own way. He's just in this like big routine, and everyone knows who he is, and it's like this small town, and yeah, but he's grumpy AF. And then Things We Never Got Over, which is the first one by Lucy Score in that series. Very small town romance. They are big books actually for small town romance, but they're also filled with a bit of action, so I did really like them. And he is definitely also very, very moody. I would recommend if you haven't read. Single Dad. I did mention Single Dad. Okay, so Heartless by Elsie Silver is the only single dad romance I have read, and I ate it up. Really freaking good. Okay, I need more of it. It just, do you know what? It pulled on my heartstrings. That's why I loved it so much. It pulled on my heartstrings, but it was still fun. It was still entertaining. It had a lot of good spice. He was just so cute with the child, and that's the thing, is I'm not really like into reading books of like loads of children and people being parents and pregnancies and all that, but I just really loved that, and I thought it was really cute and wholesome, and it was done so well. Sports romance is so popular, and I do love a sports romance. Okay, we've got Icebreaker, which was my first sports romance I think that I read really early on as well. Definitely surprised me. It was going viral because of like the whole cute cover but a lot of spice. Actually really good, and I would definitely recommend. It is Ice Hockey. And then you've got Off Campus series, which is again ice hockey. Absolutely love and adore that series. And then Windy City series by Liz Tom Ford. I'm actually only on the first one, which is Mile High, but I think they are all sports romances, but they're different romances. So the one I'm reading now is Ice Hockey, but I think there's like basketball in the future. I don't know what the other ones are, but yeah, the one that I'm reading is Ice Hockey. And then lastly, to finish up, we have got Stalker. I love a stalker romance personally. I think they are super fun, very different, very like not something that I would want to happen in real life, obviously. But I love reading books like that because then I can just like escape reality, experience something different. I don't know, just, you know, let's not judge people here, okay? But Haunting Adeline, I know it is such a like love or hate book. I get it, but I absolutely love and adore it. I never read like a dark romance before. It's my first dark romance, and I was obsessed, okay? That is definitely like a stalker romance, like stalker. And then you've got Lights Out, which is like a humorous stalker romance. I personally didn't really enjoy it, but I wish I listened to it as an audiobook because I heard that is really good. Some people really love and adore it. I think it is a fun entryway to dark romance and like the stalker side, but it wasn't for me. The Edge of Darkness trilogy and Little Stranger, those books, I think they have like some elements of like stalker vibes, but I wouldn't say they're like stalker. I think with any dark romance, you usually have like a small stalker element because they're just so obsessed with the FMC usually that they're like, I need to see what she's up to. Do you know what I mean? They have like small elements of stalker, but I wouldn't say they're like stalker romances. Do you know what I mean? Oh, but that's it. I have been talking for like 40 minutes, can I just say? I don't know how I've done this. I mean, I will obviously cut this a little bit, so probably be like a good half hour by the time you're either watching or listening to me. But we have talked through a lot of book tropes. These are probably some of like the main and most popular book tropes, but there are so many out there. You've got like micro tropes that I would love to cover and talk about as well in the future. My favorite book tropes, I mean, enemies to lovers, if it's done right and it's not done by like every single book under the sun, is definitely one of my favorites. Second chance romance, I love, absolutely love and adore, especially when it's like really, really toxic. I think it's just, yeah, love it. There's just a lot, okay? There is a lot, and like I said, there's a lot of micro tropes out there as well that I would love to talk about, because I do you know what, I love it when books explore a lot of different like micro tropes and they don't just stick to the basic, like they are enemies and then they fall in love. We need more creativity. But also I say that, is it because we're just reading so many books that it just kind of feels a bit samey, but actually like it's not? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, I'm done, okay? I need to go make some food. I haven't eaten yet. I'm going to leave this podcast here. I hope you really enjoyed this. If you did, please give my video a like and a comment if you're on YouTube, or if you're listening to me on Spotify. I would really, really love it if you rated my podcast. But yeah, thank you so much.